ABC, what's going on? It's Wednesday, May 1st, and it's snowing in Nebraska. What the hell's going on? Well, I know it does happen historically. It's been a while. They've been saying on the news it's been since 1940-something that we had snow in May. It's not snowing in Omaha, but it is in Nebraska, and supposedly the snow ban will be here by tomorrow. Of course, it's warm enough, it won't last. But anyway, I'm listening to it. I got another vinyl update to share and some news, and that's what I'm listening to. The new Wire. They got them in at my store. Change Becomes Us. I like this a lot. I do have one complaint. So this album is limited edition to 3,000 copies. I have a nice low number. The store, my store, Homer's got in 3 copies. All of them. Crinkled corner. Let me get that. Let me get the light. Yeah, I can get it. All of them like that. You know what? It's a minor thing, but it sucks. I try to get my records out to you guys in good shape so this doesn't happen. I've replaced some in the past where that happened. It sucks that you can't, and it's limited edition, you know. You want it perfect, you know. I love this album. It does sound like a continuation of 154. It also has that edginess of the early Wire. I was speaking to one of the employees at Homer's when I bought this, who is also a Wire fan, and he was saying how he personally likes what they're doing now better than when in the 90s. He said they somehow got quiet and smooth in the 90s. Well, I agree, but in my opinion, Wire naturally did that. As humans, as you grow, you naturally reflect that, and then you get to a certain age and then you want to go back. Not always, but a lot of times you want to go back and try and recapture the youth. But Wire went through a natural that was natural for them to grow from the punk edge and anarchy into something more mature. I like this new album all the way through. I like it loud too. Wire, Change Becomes Us. I also like the fact that the old guard, if you can say that, the old guard shows us that it's not a young man's game. You know, when I was about 30, 40, it was still the conventional thinking, and maybe it is now, that rock is a young man's game, and that musicians who played rock music are old fogies, and that their ideas are kind of half-baked, second-rate, and old. And I only think that's true if the person agrees that it is. I don't think so. I'm hearing a lot of people my age and older doing fantastic work. Vandegraaff Generator comes to mind right away. Their latest stuff is amazing. And this song, this killers. That sounds like 154. I love it. For me, their best album, 154. This is the other song that he wrote. Sounds just like the first song on the 154. Those songs probably came at the same time. I love it. I have a couple more records to show you, and then a couple things to tell you, and then I'm going to work. I finally got some Goat. They got 2 of the Goat remixes in at Homer's. I like these. I don't know Now that I've heard this, I'd have to hear the album all the way through. I heard some of the album online, I liked it. But I almost wonder, am I liking the remixes better than I like the album? Because the girl's voice, there's a woman singing, and I get the impression that the music is rather primitive. I heard something by Goat online, though, that I liked. I like these remixes, but I also hear where it's like, I wonder how much I would really like this. I wonder if I would actually buy this, you know. I think that's one thing I'll say about my age is that I do love hanging out with young people, and young folks are telling me about music. But some of the records that people are telling me that I must buy, my perspective is different. It's because there's bands now that are making jam and psych out records that are pretty cool, but they're imitations, and it's like, I can do that if I wanted to, so why am I gonna buy it? It has to be pretty cool. Like Acid Mother's Temple, I kind of buy their stuff, but not all their records are good, and so I don't know. They come up as they're not a good example. I forget who it was. Someone was telling me I needed to buy something, and I listened to it. I thought it was pretty good, but I don't have to buy it. They can buy it for me. So the Goat brings that up. I got volumes 1 and 2 of these remixes. I hope that the store gets in the album proper. I like the design of it. Sitting out here, record-wise, The Light Shines on Electric Light Orchestra. I had this out just talking on Facebook. If Squared, If. Kind of a jazz rock band from the UK featuring Dick Morrissey. Was talking to Charlie Parker about Dick Morrissey, and James, I'm pretty sure you'll watch this. You have lived a charmed life, my friend. You have seen so many amazing and musicians that I would love to say I've seen and met. If. What else is sitting out here? Played side 1 of Candy Apple Grey by Husker Du yesterday. Got to see them live back in the day before this. They were so loud and scary, it was a little hall in a little small neighborhood. Scared the neighbors. They called the cops because it was so loud and wild. And that's all it was. They were just playing music. And the cops came, and there was nothing going on but Husker Du playing like they were out of their minds. It was awesome. I picked up 2 records for $2 the other day at a thrift store. I picked this one up, Mason Williams, the Mason Williams Ear Show. Now, generally, when I see these records, I don't buy them because I know they're going to be mostly hokey. But I looked at this one. It was for $2, and I said, I looked at the minorly 60s psychedelic pastiche of this cover design. You see what I mean? There's just a slight undertone. So I thought, okay, let me look at this record. Paul Beaver, the Beaver and Krause, the synthesizer pioneer, is on here. And as it turns out, there is one song on here that is almost all synthesizer on side 2, Generata Oscillata. It's a slightly goofy, but it made this album worth it. I just had a feeling that something on this album would feature something in a kitschy way that would probably sound cool now. I think that's an interesting thing about kitsch, and I like the word kitsch because things that are kitsch were cool at first. Then time passes and you get a perspective and it's like, ugh. But then more time passes and then it's cool again. I like that word kitsch. I also picked this up, The Happenings Golden Hits, for $2. Now this is real super pop, but I was real into this band as a little boy. I like their songs I Got Rhythm and See You in September, and it's a UK pressing on London. And as I've said many times, I like foreign pressings, so I grabbed this for my collection. So what else has been going on? I'll talk for a little bit because I am going into the my studio this morning. I'll probably be working at home though. Last night I had a meeting with a group of filmmakers. I took their card. Well, I have the card here somewhere. Anyway, oh, here. It's a small independent film company here in Nebraska, and Jim Fields is the main guy. He, I think he won some awards for his independent film on Nebraska football called Bug Eaters. That's what the Cornhuskers were called before they were called the Cornhuskers. They were the Bug Eaters. Anyway, he won some awards with that. He's done some other films. And he's working on a film now called Flyover Country. There is a trailer up. I'll put a link. Anyway, he contacted me asking me if I would like to do the soundtrack for this film. You know, to get the call in the first place was wonderful. Number two, the fact that he's, you know, offering to pay me decent money, nothing super, but decent. And the other fact is that he's a fan. He actually owns my music, wants my music. So we met last night, and I started last night writing. In doing soundtrack work, there's several ways of going about it. You can try to write to scene, or you can try to write to flavor. And last night I started writing to a particular scene, which to my experience, which is not a lot of experience, but that's hard. That's all of side one. But you can also catch a flavor of the film and just start writing to see what might fit. And so that's what I'm also going to do. And I'm going to start today. Not start, but continue. I already started. I'm excited, actually, so I'm a little scattered. I like the film world, even though it's very stressful and strange. I don't like Hollywood so much, but I like. Yeah, there's that spot on my lampshades, Frank, right there. But I like the creative milieu of filmmaking. It can be very stressful, but in general, if the team isn't working together, you can't do anything. And I like it when people can work as teams as well as I like to work alone. But I'm happy. I got hired. He wants me specifically. I could just try to write a song, but he's asking me to try to write the entire soundtrack, all the music. So I want this challenge. It's daunting. He wanted to pay me in advance. I says, no, I'm not a typical American, and I'm not going to be. I need to see that I can do what you want, what you need, before I take any money. That's more important to me than getting that money. I need the money for this, and so I can buy records. I do not value money. It means nothing to me to get dollars. Nothing. Getting this job means everything. It's also a direct connection to the film work I've done before, because one of the producers, Sean Dereck, worked for a day on April Showers, which did the whole wardrobe for him. And so he knows my work. And then the other guy, Jim Fields, the main guy, as it turns out, he's a fan. Literally, he has 2 of my CDs. He has Dereck Nice. So I was extremely, I'm still kind of in a daze, you know, that this is something I've dreamed about having happen. I've worked in films before, but this is the first film where they're requesting my music, my style. They're not telling me to come up with somebody else. They want Dereck music. Wow. Wow. So I'll be working. I don't know how that will affect my video making, but I know that I'm going to be working. I know it's going to be affecting my listening a little bit because I'll be working. Only other thing I want to say is, in general, I am so tired of the media freaking out about Boston and terrorism. I cannot help but think that this is a smokescreen for something even more dastardly. I cannot help but believe that we as a people are just being set up. I see all this reporting and all this talk. I see absolutely no solutions being discussed. And I'm amazed how this can go on, that people are so brain damaged or asleep that we just continue to listen to this bullshit and none of it's true. The only game going on is power. Humankind has no value to world leaders. It doesn't. They just, we're just collateral damage. The only time they go to war is when they want something. It's not about the people. Then you hear about technology making these breakthroughs, like I heard about some little baby where they grew from stem cells, her own windpipe. And well, cool. So they did it for her as an example, but it's not for the benefit of mankind, because if it was for the benefit of mankind, they would just do it. It's for the benefit of who can make the money. Fuck that. I will rail against it, even though I need to make money as a businessman. I will continue to rail against it because I'm crazy, but I cannot stop seeing how it's so clear to me that mankind could change our future. We could actually create a future for these kids that we keep having. People are still dropping babies and there's nothing for them, The motherfuckers that we continue to re-vote back in and say are good people, that's all they want. They're fucking us and our children, literally. These things are never far from my conscience. Those are things that are on my mind. The freaking out about Boston. No solutions are going to come from that. All the talk. They don't care about us. This is not about stopping terrorism. There's another agenda here, people. You people that are patriotic and want to believe it, you're idiots, you're fools. I've seen enough with my own two eyes and heard enough with my own ears. Here in Omaha, being right next to Offutt Air Force Base, I know the military is out of control. Patriotic fools. We got a bunch of patriotic fools, and he's allowing them to just rape, pillage, and plunder the entire planet. These things are always on my mind, people, always. I turn on the radio and I turn it off. I used to like talk radio. I used to like NPR. NPR enrages me. Let me see what's on right now, matter of fact. Let's see what there's. Okay, it's a commercial right now, but it's almost 9 and they're about to start On Point. And I used to like to listen to On Point. I still try now, but these people are out of touch with reality. The rail car is off the rails, and we're still talking like it's gonna go off the rails. This is not helping anything. That's why I'm so mad about the media. It's so controlled. We're not dealing with reality. We keep talking as though it's gonna. We're already in the shitter big time. I'm gonna hold on a second and see if I can catch the beginning of what are they gonna talk about today.
So what does this all mean for the larger economy, for the average American who wants to buy a home?
So they keep talking.
Will the tide keep rising, or could we be headed for another bubble? Up next on.
So they keep talking about things as though everything is just the way it was, but it's not. The economy is not coming back. It's in ruins, people. And this isn't helping us with this false shit. We need leaders who care about us and are willing to say, okay, time to roll up our sleeves and stop playing this game for the Bilderbergers.